Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass. Live in living color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. And should I say, welcome to Fright Night. For real. That's right, ladies and gents. Welcome to Fright Night for real. I am not Peter Vincent. I am John Grande, live in the color here with you on the graveyard tonight. I am super excited. I've been thinking of this all week. I've been wanting to talk all things Fright Night Parts 1 and the much under talked about Fright Night Part 2. We're going to be getting underway, I promise, but I'm super freaking excited tonight. I can assure you that. Miss C is in the hazy. Thanks, Grande. Let's just hope you're not in for a Fright Night with your Wi-Fi. Hey, let's hope so. I don't know if anybody notices, and maybe not. I did get a new camera. So new camera, the new Wi-Fi is on its way, so don't worry about it. We definitely we're moving up in the world. We're doing something a little bit different. We're gonna be improving the show over the next couple of weeks. Oh, you're so cool, Grande. Mr. Zetro, you here to make fun of me? All right, man. That is what it is. Just don't do porn like Stephen Jeffries did. Slasher Fred is in the house. And to what do I was this dubious pleasure? Slasher Fred, what's going on, good brother? The insane one. Welcome to Fright Night. For real? I hope for real. He says hello there. What's going on, good brother? Aiden Vavers in the house. Good brother Aiden, what's up, man? How's all with you, man? Hope all is well. Mateo, ciao grande. Fright Night scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Saw it again recently. So sexual, did not notice as a kid. Hey, man, when you're a kid, you don't notice shit like that. Like you just like scared of vampires and shit. But when you get older, it sort of gets a little fucked up. Amanda Beers, Chris Sarandon. I don't know, man. It does get a little bit steamy. Even the sequel is quite steamy. But, I mean, hey, vampires, eroticism, this is all the shit we know and love in film. So, I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way, personally. Insane one, hello. Hello, my friend. People saying hello. James Moss, hi, I'm here tonight. James Moss, what's going on, good brother? Hope all is well with you, man. Falcon Adam, good brother Adam, what's up, man? Johnny, my man, what's up, Adam? Yo, I saw you commented last night. This is Adam's all-time favorite horror movie, so I'm super excited to have you on here because this is one I've been meaning to do for a long time. It's funny, in past shows, like when I've done, Halloween horror picks or just recommendation shows, I've discussed this film on the channel numerous times, but I never did an episode for it. And I've never discussed the sequel as far as I am aware. So I figured, I was like, it's about time we do Fright Night. So I figured it was like, you know what? This is the week we do it. I'm rocking the Rotten Cotton t-shirt. Yes, this awesome blue Fright Night tee. I believe you could still get this. It's like $15, if anything, on Rotten Cotton. It's a super awesome website when it comes to horror t-shirts. Really cool stuff. I'm a big fan of the film, and I have a lot of red and black tees. So to get blue and black, I was like, I don't know, simple, but so damn effective for me. So I don't know. I love this shirt from Rotten Cotton, and I'm a big fan of the film. I'm doing good, man. I love these two films quite a bit. Excellent. I'm happy to hear somebody likes the sequel, because the sequel, man, people don't discuss it at all. And we'll get into probably why that is. That's probably due to, the lack of a wide release that it got, not only just in the cinemas, but after it was released on home video. It really, I mean, to this day, I don't think has the proper special edition that it's supposed to have or that is owed to the film, because that film is worth a special edition. I mean, there should be a really good Blu-ray of that, at least. You don't want to go into 4K, that's fine, but there should be a Blu-ray with special features, interviews with Julie, Carmen, and all the wonderful cast that was in Fright Night Part 2. But for some reason, that doesn't exist, unless I believe there's a Spanish Blu-ray. But when it comes to features, I don't know what's on that Blu-ray. I don't even know if it's bare bones or not. But that movie deserves a special edition blue, in my opinion. We'll get there, though. William Ragsdale is excellent as Charlie Brewster. Absolutely. Fun fact, the original choice, the original guy they were going to cast, Charlie Sheen. That would have been some winning. That would have been fucking interesting, man. R.I.P. Roddy McDowell. Dude, absolutely. I love Roddy McDowell. Fright Night 2 is also among one of the best horror sequels I've ever seen. Wow, okay, so we've got some love for Fright Night Part 2. That is very cool to hear. Miss Carter, I had no clue about Amanda Beers until I started watching Married with Children. Then I was like, oh, wait, she's the chick in Fright Night. Yes, that's right. You know what's crazy too, Miss C? She's playing a high school student in this film. She was 27 years old during filming, 28 years old when it came out. absolutely fucking wild. So it's like, but she passes for younger. Like this isn't one of those like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies where you watch them, you're like, all right, Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst, they're not high schoolers, but it has that 80s charm. A lot of 80s films do that. So I don't know. I sort of let it slide, especially if the film is good. And this is a damn good one. Tommy Lee Wallace directed that sequel, and he did a fantastic job. It gave me Argento vibes. Wow. I don't know about Argento vibes for me. I don't know if I got those same vibes, but he did do a wonderful job. That's really one of the best films he ever did. Of course, in between Halloween 3 and Stephen King's It, he did do Fright Night Part 2. And it's interesting because it's a really slept on movie, but I'm excited to go into both of them. Very hard to find a copy of a DVD out of print, and very expensive. I did see Blu-ray at a convention, but it was German or something. Yes. So, I mean, we were going to get into that later, but I guess we can talk a little bit about the Fright Night 2, the lack of its release. So there's a DVD of it. It's basically a glorified pan and scan VHS transfer on a DVD. The picture is full screen, and it looks like shit. I've never actually watched the physical DVD. I don't own Fright Night Part 2, which is a shame, but there's not a proper edition of it. So I mean, it is what it is. But that's why for the longest time that I never saw the movie. It wasn't like I would go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video as a child and see Fright Night Part 2 right next to Part 1. I rented the original movie and I watched it again and again and again. Where I was at, they didn't have Fright Night Part 2 even to be available to be rented. So it's pretty wild. But that's why it took me such a long time to get into the sequel. And what I've noticed is a lot of people, they kind of come to the party late on Fright Night Part 2, but I've heard much more positive than negative with the sequel. And I think it's a damn shame that the movie hasn't gotten the mainstream attention of the first film. Granted, the first film is better. I can spoil that right now. I do think the first film is far superior, but I think it's a damn good sequel. And like I said, we will definitely get into that. Wow, didn't know that. Yep, Amanda Bierce, man, 27 years old. And I believe Ragsdale was like 24. So, I mean, they had both been around the block and then again, but it's pretty interesting to see. Stephen Jeffries is excellent as Evil Ed Thompson. Absolutely. The Master of Fear is here. What's going on, good brother Devin? Hope all is well with you tonight. I've noticed that the original is sort of like a vampire version of Rear Window. In both movies, the main protagonist spies on his neighbors through binoculars. Yes, that's true. I think it's almost like The Boy Who Cried Wolf meets a vampire film. And, that's why I really love it. And I'll give a brief plot synopsis in just a second here because we're going to get underway. John Steele is in the house. Oh, yeah, brother Steele, Reeve. What's going on, good brother? Hope all is well with you tonight. Tom Holland is truly an underrated horror master. Absolutely. But I figure, we've let everybody enter the graveyard gates, if we will. I have a pretty cool plot synopsis, and I was going to do it off IMDb, but then I read the back of this DVD box here from the old school days. This is old school. I mean, this was the same DVD that I would rent over and over again from Hollywood Video, and then eventually just bought the thing before they went out of business. And they have a really fun plot synopsis on the back. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I read this? We'll jump right in. We'll have a little fun tonight. So everybody, I don't know what you all are drinking, but cheers. I've got some Pure Life water because I'm trying to quit soda. I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm down to like 204 pounds. So if I get under 200, I would be freaking ecstatic. So cheers, everybody. Cheers to a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'm actually off of work tomorrow, so my weekend has already started. Cheers to y'all on the graveyard here tonight. But this is a fun, brief plot synopsis. Not brief, but it's a fun plot synopsis. All right. Meet Jerry Dandridge. He's sweet, sexy, and he likes to sleep in late. This almost sounds like a dating app or something. You might think he's the perfect neighbor, but before inviting Jerry in for a nightcap, there's just one thing you should know. Jerry prefers his drinks warm, red, and straight from the jugular. And that's right, it is Fright Night, a horrific howl starring Chris Sarandon as the seductive vampire and William Ragsdale as the frantic teenager struggling to keep Jerry's deadly fangs out of his neck. That's a pretty good idea. Only 17-year-old Charlie Brewster knows Jerry's blood-curdling secret. When Charlie can't get anyone to believe him, though, he turns to TV horror host Peter Vincent, played by the late, great Roddy McDowell, may he rest in peace, who used to be the great vampire killer of the movies. Can these mortals save Charlie and his sweetheart Amanda? Amy, played by Amanda Beer. Sorry, I fucked that up. From the wrathful bloodsucker's toothy embrace, if you love being scared, Fright Night will give you the nightmare of your life. Yes, Fright Night from 1985. Of course, written and directed by Tom Holland in his directorial debut. Of course, Tom Holland, before this, for years, was an actor. And if you're a horror fan, you may remember him in a little movie called Psycho 2. He actually helped write the screenplay of Psycho 2 and shows up in a bit cameo role as like a police officer. So really cool to see Tom Holland go from actor to all of a sudden big filmmaker. And when I think of great debut films, I mean, there's a few directors that come to mind. Of course, George Romero, Night of the Living Dead. Of course, you think about David Cronenberg with Shivers. You think about, Dario Argento and The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. But dare I say, I don't know if there's a better debut film out there for any filmmaker that has ever done it than Tom Holland with this film right here, Fright Night. And in my humble opinion, when people ask me, well, why do you love horror? There's so many answers that could answer that. There's so many movies I could say. There's so many stories I could tell. But Fright Night would be right up there with a movie that I am fully enamored with, and a movie that I have embraced over the years so much more. And it's a big reason as to why I am the horror fan I am today. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, this is a perfect movie when it's talking about not just the past, but most importantly, the future. You see, vampire films were mostly period pieces and Hammer horror and Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee and of course the Bela Lugosi of yesteryear and all of these things, Nosferatu. That's what vampire films were. Vampire films needed a shot in the arm and they needed to move along into the decade of the 1980s. And of course, we got Lost Boys. Of course, we got Near Dark, both in 1987, both fantastic films. And I think, though, without Fright Night, those films, I don't even know if they would have been able to, walk the ground that they were able to walk, because I think Fright Night paved the way for vampire films long after it. This is a great example of a movie that embraces the past, present, and future. Of course, there's a lot of nods to old school horror hosts in the Peter Vincent character. If you think about it, Peter Vincent, that's an interesting name. Peter Cushing, of course, a 50s Hammer horror hero against such vampires. Vincent Price, of course, one of the most legendary horror movie icons of all time. So you put those two names together and you get, of course, Roddy McDowell playing that old school television horror host. Welcome to Fright Night. It's just an excellent homage to the past. But what I think it does right is it embraces the future. Everything is toned up. We have fantastic special makeup effects in this. We have a fantastic story, a fantastic soundtrack. The score is absolutely amazing. Come to Me by Brad Siegel, who was coming off scoring a little film called The Terminator, comes in to do the music here and just hit an absolute home run. I mean, this is one of my favorite horror movie soundtracks of all time. This is just a grand film. There's just so much to like here. And let me go back to the comments, though, because I see there's a ton of comments. So let me scroll back up here. I'm sorry if I miss anybody's comment. Feel free to repost. But wow, I missed a ton of comments. Holy shit, I'm still going. I think we were here. If I missed you, like I said, do not hesitate to recomment. I remember when the remake came out, I was hoping it would come out in a special package of all three movies. I have bought that, but it never happened. Remake also pretty decent, though. I'll be honest with you, man. This is one for me that you can't remake. You just can't remake this movie. It's like Jaws. It's just The Exorcist. Like, you don't remake Fright Night. That's just for me. I have not seen that remake. I don't think I ever will. And another thing, when it comes to that remake, the setting. And no offense if you live in Arizona or a desert-like town or anything. That's another thing about the beauty of this film. It could be anywhere. It's a suburban town. It's just, it's a nice suburban town where people are getting picked off. Who the hell is doing this? And just maybe it's my next door neighbor who just happens to be a vampire. Really cool. I liked that whole mentality of it. The whole psychology of it can be anybody next door. For me, it's hard to relate to the setting of that remake. And also that was around the time Twilight had come out. So they were pretty and they sparkled, and No, just no. I respect it. If people like it, I respect it. Hey, it's your favorite horror film ever, so maybe there's something to it. But I'm just gonna pass. That's just one to me that's simply untouchable. That's just my humble opinion, though. Original was a big VHS rental as a kid. I was 10, dude, 10 years old renting Fright Night. You know, I probably was 10 too when I rented it, but we're just a lot of years apart. And tries to tell people that there's something strange going on with his neighbors, but can't get anyone to take him seriously. Exactly. Similar to Rear Window and The Boy Who Cried Wolf, of course. And I think they tell that story really well here. I love William Ragsdale as the normal kid next door that's afraid to be killed by his neighbor. He has a great innocence to him, a good charm to his character, very likable, very you root for him. I really like him as the lead. I wish that Fright Night 2 1988 should come out on DVD in the USA in the first place. So it is out on DVD, but it's a terrible DVD. So I would save your money, man. I would recommend this. Someone somewhere down the road, they're going to do a special edition of Fright Night 2. I thought it was going to be Vinegar Syndrome when they teased the Blood for Dracula, and instead it was Blood for Dracula 4K, which I thought was garbage. And I love Vinegar Syndrome, but that was garbage. That we have been clamoring and wanting Fright Night 2 on a special edition and maybe a 4K scan for quite a long time. I don't know, we can get into the rights issues later, but that one deserves it, man. Cheers to you, Mr. Insane One. Cheers to the water. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, let's talk some vampires. Absolutely, man. Kick back, relax like Billy Cole. H2O. Hell yeah, man. That's my drink of the evening. I didn't even know there was a Fright Night 2 until this show came up into my notifications. Really? Wow. That's pretty. I'm actually surprised. Fright Night 2 has no Blu-ray yet, US wise. Yes, I believe there's a Spanish and an Australian Blu-ray. As far as I know, I believe the Australian Blu-ray is bare bones. I don't know anything about the Spanish Blu-ray, but I feel like it deserves a non-bare bones release. I don't know that, like, in a world where Alligator and Alligator 2 just got special editions, like, why can't Fright Night 2, But I mean, it is probably legal issues. When talking about vampires, you can never forget Blade. Oh my God, dude, Wesley Snipes owned that role. I adore Blade. Absolutely one of my favorite, I don't know if people will say superhero movie, but I would say that. Blade and Blade 2, I love. Blade Trinity, USA Up All Night should come back one day. Imagine, dude, I would kill to host that shit. This is USA Up All Night. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man. We can go into that. I don't know. Ryan Larkin's in the hazy. Ryan, good to see your name, man. Hope all's well with you, man. Cheers. Up All Night was great. Gilbert Gottfried, Rhonda Shear. Dude, I love Gilbert Gottfried, man. I believe there's one online where you could watch, and it is him doing waxwork. And he was commenting on, bro, it was so funny. We'll be right back with Zach Galligan and waxwork. I mean, just funny shit, man. I love Gilbert Gottfried. One of the best directorial debuts of all time. It's almost my favorite vampire film, but I adore From Dusk Till Dawn so much. Wow, I don't know. Favorite vampire film, this would have to be up there. It's top 2 or 3 easily. Martin, From Dusk Till Dawn, the original Dracula, Nosferatu. I mean, yeah, there's a ton of good vampire films. I don't know. It would definitely be in the top 2 or 3, though. I noticed that the character of Peter Vincent is very similar to the character of Kolchak. Yes, the Night Stalker. That is right. And that series just got I believe, a special edition release. I think Kino Lorber. I think it was Kino Lorber. They did a fantastic job with that. And I love Kolchak the Night Stalker. Fantastic show. Don't forget Once Bitten with Jim Carrey. Oh God, really? We're gonna get into that? The Flo Chambers in the house. Flo, what's up, brother? I haven't watched the sequel, but I love the first film. The remake was okay. Nowhere near the OG movie, though. I'm sure that's the case. Cool fun fact. You can watch part 2 for free on YouTube. There's no nobody has taken it down as far. That's how I watched it for show prep this week. And I recommend you do, man. We'll fully review it. But I think it's a tremendous, tremendous movie. Fright Night is my favorite vampire movie besides Blade. Dude, great pick. Both of those great picks. Russia should leave the Ukraine. Oh, geez. We're not getting into politics, brother. Sorry. Slasher Fred. Me too. Yeah, hell yeah. Mateo says Sam Raimi, Evil Dead, and Toby Hooper TCM are the hell of debut. Yeah, oh, totally. Sam Raimi, absolutely. Sam Raimi, that might be the best one. Like Evil Dead, man. I don't know if you can do better than that in your first film. Of course, I know the marks would probably argue, oh, Within the Woods was first, and oh, Eggshells was first for Tobe Hooper. Whatever. It's close enough. I mean, you make two movies like that, they're literally define the genre. Like those are two top 10 horror movies ever in their first try. I mean, it's incredible to think about. Bird with the Crystal Plumage is amazing film debut. Can't stand that remake or the second film remake. John Steele, I will never watch those. I don't fucking no. You just don't remake Fright Night. No, like no. I like that's refusal. Like I wouldn't. You'd have to fucking pay me to watch that. No way. Remake was okay. No, I believe you, but no, I'm not watching that shit. If I'm being honest, New Blood was my favorite remake. New Blood. What do you mean, New Blood? I'm confused. I meant to say Fright. Oh, okay. I meant to say Fright Night remake, not remake in general. My favorite remake of all time is The Thing. Oh, okay. I understand. I've noticed that the original Child's Play has many similarities to Fright Night. In both movies, the main protagonist lives with his single mother and sees something that he can't explain. Totally. And the constant is Tom Holland and of course Chris Sarandon. Of course, Chris Sarandon playing the great antagonist heel of Jerry Dandridge in this movie right here, Fright Night. And then you turn around and plays Detective Mike Norris in Child's Play. And it's so cool that they both collaborated on those two films together. And I love Child's Play is the killer doll film of all time. It'll forever be the killer doll film. It's crazy. He made the vampire film of the 1980s and the killer doll film within 3 years of each other. And they were his first two films. I mean, how do you do that, man? It's just incredible. Fright Night 2 has a Spanish Blu-ray release. Noche de Medio. Yes, that's right. Okay. I don't know if it's bare bones or not, but I know it's a Blu-ray, Spanish Blu-ray release. I do know that. Alligator's great. I'm just saying, if that movie is a 4K, why the fuck does Fright Night 2 not have a 4K? Like, we go on forever. Why does the Star Crystal have a fucking Blu-ray and fucking Fright Night Part 2 doesn't? Why does fucking, I don't even know. Again, we could bash the Star Crystal again. Why does the Star Crystal have a Blu-ray and fucking The Hitcher doesn't have a US Blu-ray? Come on, man. The Hitcher? Jesus Christ. Top 5, no doubt. Totally agree. I know I'm off subject, but have you ever seen Near Dark? My all-time. Yes, I actually just mentioned Near Dark. Catherine Bigelow. Was that Catherine Bigelow's first film? That I don't know. That's quite of a debut if it was. I like Near Dark, but to me, Fright Night is more my cup of tea. But I do enjoy Near Dark. It's a good film. That, Lost Boys. I mean, vampire films in the late 80s were really banging. And Fright Night really was the catalyst to kick it off. Evil Dead was a lightning in a bottle. Yes, it was. Absolutely. As was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The remake was so dull. 13 Originals. What's going on, good brother? Hope all is well with you tonight. I saw the trailer, man, and I just tapped out. I just said, no, I'm not, no. You can't, to me, it's just, there's certain movies, man, you just shouldn't touch. You just don't touch. Like, why? Like, this is 80s personified. When I think the 1980s, this is one of the first movies that comes to my head. You just don't remake that with a the Abercrombie and Fitch cast and in the desert and fucking McLovin playing Evil Ed. What the fuck? What? No, just no. That's a remake. I won't lie. I don't judge very often. I judged it by its cover. I'm not watching that. I'm not watching fucking sparkling Jerry Dandridge. You can fucking kiss my ass. TC, yeah, absolutely. They got a yes man director to make that film. He never directed another horror film again. Oh, really? I didn't know that. The remake chick cannot touch the beauty of Julie Carmen. Dude, Julie Carmen was unfucking believable in front. Dude, such a beautiful woman. 4K Steelbox of Manos. Yeah, exactly. We got 4K Steelbox of Manos, man. Goddamn, release the Hitcher in Fright Night Part 2. God damn it. Hitcher is on its way. But I don't think it's a U.S. release, right? Isn't it overseas? Isn't it a UK release? I know there's a few overseas releases of The Hitcher, which is cool. And I believe it's getting a 4K. But Jesus Christ, why is there not one in the United States? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just whiny. I don't know how to explain it, but to me, that movie is worth a special edition in the fucking United States of America. That's just my opinion. There was a movie I remember watching that is very similar to Fright Night called Step Monster that used to air all the time on the Disney Channel when it used to be premium channel. That was about this. Wow, you know. And if you mentioned the Disney Channel slasher, Fred, Grant, I don't know how old you are, but from my generation, I remember the old school Disney Channel original movies of the late 1990s, early 2000s. And I remember a little movie called My Mom Has a Date with a Vampire. And it was basically, I think it was Carolyn Ray before carbs. Carolyn Ray before carbs. Holy shit, man. That woman let herself fucking go. Holy shit, man. That bitch has had one piece of bread too fucking many. I'm sorry. I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. And I always want to know who's coming with me. I got one-way ticket. But that movie was a lot of fun. I really love. They did a lot of movies like that. Like they did My Date with the President's Daughter, which again has nothing to do with this, but it's just shit I remember from my childhood. That I love those cheesy bad movies on the Disney Channel. Man, that brings me back. That comment. Teen who suspects that something is strange about his new stepmother and tries to tell people. Exactly. Yeah. No. The Boy Who Cried Wolf story has been done a lot, right? But I mean, it's done perfectly here in Fright Night. I didn't like that remake. Dude, I'm no good. I'm good with that. LMAO, the nightclub scene. Dude, we're going to get there. That's my favorite scene in the movie. CGI was total shit in Fright Night remake, and it came out in 2011. You know, fuck that movie. CGI should be an outlaw. I kind of agree. Your stepmother's a werewolf. Your sister's a werewolf. No, I'm just kidding. That's The Howling 2. And then part 3 is the marsupials, right? Jeez. So many bad Howling sequels. Everybody in the original Fright Night feels like real people, whereas the remake, yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing that I feel about this. It's just it feels like people you could have easily grown up with. Like they're like in some of the opening scenes in the school, and this thing is really really well directed. I think Tom Holland gives a good atmosphere to this thing. Of course, setting the tension between Charlie Brewster and of course Jerry Dandridge when he's watching Jerry Dandridge, sort of hook up with this prostitute woman, and he's watching through the window with the binoculars, and he's just about to go for the bite. And he sees him, and then just the sheer terror on his face, and oh my god, he saw me! Oh my god, he saw me! Just oh my god, it gets you going. It's a really good, kind of tone setter. Like Jerry Dandridge means business, and Chris Sarandon just plays this character to perfection. I adore Chris Sarandon in this film. I think he does a really, really good job as the antagonist. Of course, he and his henchman, Mr. Billy Cole, Cole the Gargoyle. It's actually a funny story. Me and my friend Brian, I remember when we first started talking, we exchanged numbers, and we always do nicknames. Like, that week we were talking about Fright Night. He was like, I'll text you. I'll be like, hey, what's up, Billy Cole? I said, okay. And he texted, and I gave him one number off of my number. So he texted some random person, hey, Billy Cole. And the person was like, what the fuck? Who is Billy Cole? This is a funny story that I'll never forget. I always thought that was funny. I remember him messaged me on Facebook. He was like, that's a fucked up rib. I was like, dude, I wasn't ribbing. I gave you the wrong number by accident. I would never do that, but man, it's a funny ass story. But this thing, man, this is tremendous. Like I adore Fright Night. I think the pacing of the film is really good. It has a good build to, the danger that awaits us. And I think this thing, of course, towards the middle when he goes to Peter Vincent, of course, Roddy McDowell, the horror host whose show is kind of depleting and declining, and his ratings are in the shitter. And you're the great vampire hunter. You have to believe me. And he just won't. He won't do it. But of course, Evil Ed and Amy, they go to him and, hey, can you help us out? We'll go tonight. We'll try to make Charlie believe that Jerry Dandridge isn't a vampire. And they do all these fun things. Like he drinks holy water, but it's not really blessed, so he'll do it. And he won't touch the cross. They pay homage to all the old school vampire tropes. The vampires don't have a reflection in this movie. Of course, the sunlight will make them explode and burst into flames. The stake to the heart. All of these things that were established 50 plus years before this movie, they're still utilized here, but I think in a modern enough way for the time to, make this thing shine as bright as it does. And to me, the pinnacle, to me, why I love Fright Night, it's that club scene that James was talking about. And you have Charlie in there and Amy, and they're talking about trying to get out of there. This is after Evil Ed gets bit, of course, played by Stephen Jeffrey, who weirdly enough went on to have quite the career in pornography. Don't believe me? Look it up. Look at some of the movies that Stephen Jeffries has been in his career. He did a lot of fucking weird porn in the 90s, man. Odd, but you're so cool, Brewster. I don't know. Evil Ed, whatever floats your boat, brother. It's a living. It's a living. They're in the nightclub, and Jerry Dandridge is slowly but surely seductively seducing Amanda Bierce's character. And they play this excellent song, He's a Good Man in a Bad Time. And just the club beat. And to me, it's the whole vibe of that club, the colors and people having a good time, boogieing, right? I mean, it reminds you just straight out of something if you've seen the old school footage of Studio 54. Like, my parents actually used to go party in Studio 54 and shit. That club scene is just magical, how it all plays out, how he seduces her, he goes for the bite, she pulls away, they do the twirl, and every now and again you see her spinning with him, but then when you see the reflection, you just see her because he cannot have a reflection. Brilliant. That whole scene is just movie magic, in my opinion. And it just, to me, takes this movie from straight up horror, straight up vampire, to this sort of fantastical, just pinnacle of horror. And to me, that scene is what it's all about with Fright Night. And of course, the I don't need an English teacher to tell me I need you tonight. I'ma give it up. I mean, just the soundtrack, man, excellent. Like, this is one of those soundtracks that I could never, ever get sick of. It's just incredible. And of course, the finale of when Peter Vincent has to have his character arc. And, he realizes that he's kind of the chicken shit. And, he's afraid, and he is the complete opposite of this persona he's played on television, which I think is a great caricature, a great, rib, of course. Like, of course, all the tough guys in the movies must be tough guys for real. Not really. And I like that they play with that trope, but he and Charlie have to team up together in order to save Amy from the evil clutches of Jerry Dandridge. And I love the scene where they walk into the house, crosses and holy water in hand, and Jerry Dandridge sort of emerges from the shadows. Welcome to Fright Night. For real. Just amazing. Horror history. One of my favorite lines of all time. Here you have this guy that was, for lack of a better word, and at least in the mind of Jerry Dandridge, mocking the horror genre, mocking the creature of the night. Out comes the creature of the night and mocks him. Fantastic. As they go up the steps, and this just fantastic special makeup effects and visual effects finale sort of plays out. Incredible. I see the death of Billy is one of the best vampire deaths of all time. Dude, amazing. And I always thought Billy was a gargoyle. Maybe, can somebody clear this up for me? I always thought Billy Cole was a gargoyle because he's out in the sunlight at parts. He does have a reflection. I always assumed that Billy Cole was a gargoyle. I am not positive. I haven't read up on my fucking vampire assistant literature, but that's what I always thought. But man, it's amazing. They shoot him a bunch in the head. All this green goo shoots out. He fucking melts into this skull, just crap. Fucking amazing. Like, that's how you do. That's just the antagonist assistant. He even gets like a great death. Fantastic stuff. Let me go back to comments here and we'll finish the finale. Oh geez, we got a ton of these. Holy shit. Again, I don't know where the fuck I left off. I'm sorry. I think here. Not all CGI is bad. If you use it right, it can work very well. CGI is not this evil entity you're trying to destroy your movie. Yeah, no, I hear you. It can be done well. Hey man, we talked about Cloverfield, right? Cloverfield was done right. To me, this is far more ambitious than any CGI special makeup effects. We talk about the transformation scene in An American Werewolf in London. Hell, we did last week. The Howling. But there's a transformation scene in this where Evil Ed turns into a wolf. And Peter Vincent stabs him in the chest with this sort of railing. And just the makeup effects of him, begging for his life, turning back into a human slowly but surely. fucking amazing, dude. Absolutely amazing special makeup effect, in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Millennial Fright Night LMFAO, that's the remake. Yeah, it really, yeah, no, I'm good. Fucking Fright Night in the fucking desert. Fuck you. I thought the remake idea was going to be decent, do a lot with the Vegas setting, and you could easily tell if it, yeah, no. If you ever watched Bordello of Blood, I believe it wasn't AJ. AJ, I think you were watching that the other night. Both Corey Feldman and Chris Sarandon reversed their roles, played in Friday. Yes, that's true. I love Bordello of Blood, man. Freaking Tales from the Crypt is the best. CJ always looks like a video game cutscene to me. Totally breaks the mood. Yeah, no, and here's the thing, Ethel. I think there's so much more of a admiration I have for people that do special makeup effects in movies like this. There's so much more of to me that passion and hard work. We were talking about this on the horror roundtable I did with Night, Rainbow, and Coriander. That there's just such a more of a heart, if you will, to doing an actual practical makeup effect as opposed to just adding it in later in post-production. That's just me. I know that there are people that will say, oh, you're just being harsh. I'm not. I'm just being honest. That's honestly what my opinion. LO, that's a funny. Yeah, no, the Billy Cole story. He will tell you that to this day, man. That we laugh for days about that. Still do to this day. Agreed. Yeah, totally. You're replying to him. TNT Monster Vision should come back. One, dude. Again, another one I would love to. Joe Bob Briggs, the best. Every film, Roddy McDowell needs to have an alternate version where he is in his Planet of the Apes makeup. That would be great. I always loved the Twilight Zone he was in, where it's, I guess, a spoiler alert for people who are like all over. Roddy McDowell and his partner, they fly to a different planet. They crash land. The partner dies, and all the people are like normal. And they talk English and stuff. And they're like, hey, we'll hook you up. We'll rebuild your ship. We'll hook you up. And the whole twist is at the end, they put him in this apartment. When he opens the curtains, he's in like a zoo. And he's like a human attraction to all of these aliens. Fantastic, man. One of Roddy McDowell's best performances. And one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes. I saw the remake first. Really, because I didn't know it was a remake, it was disappointing, the idea. Holy shit. Thank God you felt that way about the original. Sometimes you see one first, it can really win you over. So I'm glad you changed your mind. LMFAO, my mom was a disco queen for a short time too. No way, really? Dude, my parents were partying fucking 1984, fucking dancing with fucking Zach Galligan after the premiere of Gremlins, dude. Them motherfuckers knew how to party. Wasn't straight porn. Jeffries. Oh, yeah, I don't think so. But not judging. Hey, like I said, it's a living. It's a living. We can quote Sylvester Stallone and Rocky. It's a living. It's a living. I love Peter Vincent's line, nobody wants to see vampire killers anymore, or vampires either. It seems all they want are crazy madmen running around and ski masks killing off young virgins. Of course, a slight jab and commentary of the slasher films of yesteryear. And in my opinion, that's tastefully done, because at the time, that's what was drawing. Slasher movies, Jason, Freddy, Michael, all of these things, they were in their prime and they were making crazy money. People probably have a hard time believing this. This was the second highest grossing horror film of 1985. You take a wild guess at what the number one was. It was A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Of course it was, right? Because the slasher had really taken over. And I think it was time to go back to the well for an old school horror movie like a vampire film, but to give it something to revamp it for the new generation. This is a type of movie I'd love to see come out now. Embrace the 80s and 70s of yesteryear, but be yourself at the same time. That's what I think a lot of these movies now that are trying to be throwbacks miss. They aren't their own movies on their own 2 feet. They're just, I'm trying to be like the 70s. I'm trying to be like the 70s. I'm trying to be like the 80s. I get it, brother, and that's cool. But be yourself too. Embrace the future. Give me something new, and we can move on. That's just my thing. That's what I think movies now really miss that Fright Night gets right. It's the old school meeting the new school and moving forward as opposed to take a step back. That's just my opinion. The death of... okay, yeah, so I read that one. Dude, I love that kill scene. Trying to catch up here. The soundtrack in the original is awesome, whereas the remake soundtrack... What the... Popped Up Kicks? Popped Up Kicks for fucking Fright Night? What? Tell me you're fucking kidding. What? How the hell would that go? All the other vampires sucking dick, sucking dick, sucking dick. All because evil Ed. I don't know. Plenty of gooey deaths in these movies. Plenty of evil gooey deaths, dude. Yeah, for real. The finale is so much fun. We're gonna finish the finale. I've noticed that the original Fright Night is sort of like a pre-Scream. It set the rules of vampire movies. Sure, absolutely. That's a great point. CGI, when used right, can be very useful too. Yeah, no, totally. I hear that. I guess we need Tobin's spirit guide to solve the dilemma on Billy. I don't know. I thought he was a gargoyle. Can anybody else weigh in on this? Because I always thought he was a fucking gargoyle. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he's not a vampire. But I don't know. Just watch Bordello. So fun. Yeah, that's right. You tell me the other night. CGI should be used when you are not able to do practically stuff. Exactly. Spider-Man's got to be CGI. Roddy M in Class of 1984, of course. Faces of Death is on 2B. Okay, random. There was an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark called Nightly Neighbors that is kind of like Fright Night, that is about this girl who suspects that her new neighbors are vampires. That's pretty cool. I have not seen that. Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was Nickelodeon, right? Wasn't that Nickelodeon? I have not seen that episode. Oh, Good Brother Tom's in the house. Roddy McDowell was also one of the scariest Night Gallery episodes of The Cemetery. Was I there? The Cemetery Man? I don't know. What's going on, Good Brother Tom? Hope all is well with you. Nope, that song is in the remake. What the fuck? That's fucked up. That's fucked up. What? How would that fit in? Jeez. I love the theme, but dude, they kill this. Of course, and that's the song that plays as the credits roll. Fright Night, who you gonna call tonight? Ba-da-da-da. Lock your doors and windows tight. Fantastic. I mean, just such an energy to it. Even the ending of your film had a great energy. This is a great movie with a great energy. And getting back to the finale, the whole, confrontation between Dandridge and Vincent. You have to have faith for that to work on me, Mr. Vincent. And Roddy McDowell looks back and he then believes and it starts to work. I love that. You have to have faith for it to work on someone who's been a vampire for all of these years. It makes sense. That's pretty cool to me. I like the rules that this movie abides by. And then, of course, the final, battle with Dandridge trying to get him out of the coffin. Of course, Amy turning into this crazy vampire that's in the middle here, which I love that facial effect. It's just incredible to this day. Great visual, practical makeup effect on her face. And it completely doesn't even look like Amanda Bierce. Like, you could tell me that wasn't her and I would believe you. And she's trying to get Charlie. And then meanwhile, they break the window and, they all sort of burn up and explode. And it's a very ambitious finale. It's a lot of fun. It's a perfect third act, in my opinion. You have the perfect build, tension, atmosphere, great characters, a great pace. I mean, to me, this is the total package. It really is. Soundtrack, all of it, just total package. Hey, Grande, just looked on the internet. It's a zombie. What the fuck? Okay, a zombie. But wouldn't a zombie be like, he wouldn't look human, would he? And they also shoot him in the fucking head. And he keeps coming. It was not till they stab him in the heart with the stake till he explodes in the goo. I always thought gargoyle. That's just me, though. I don't know. It doesn't seem like anybody else has an opinion. So if nobody else cares, Mateo, except us, I don't know. I always thought gargoyle. So zombie doesn't make sense to me. Because zombies, you shoot a zombie in the fucking head, he's going to die, right? At least by the Romero rules. I don't know, man. I didn't write this shit. Maybe we could ask Tom Holland someday. I love how the vampire looks in the movie. I wish all vampires looked like this. Yeah, no, it's a great transformation scene with Chris Sarandon playing Jerry Dandridge. I love it. They make him, look very grotesque and horrifying and stuff, like monstrous. And I think too, and I think Chris Sarandon was a good looking actor, and to make him horrific and stuff, that was really smart. It doesn't quite work for Julie Carmen in the next film when they try to make her look horrific. She's so beautiful that you can't make her look horrific. Like, she's just such a 10. It was such a hard thing to do. If you ever want to do the campfire trick from Are You Afraid of the Dark, all you need is a handful of instant pancake mix. Very cool. We might have to try that someday. The original's finale was wonderful, whereas the remake, CGI Jerry explodes into PS3 gore. I'll leave that there. I don't have to comment on that shit. In the original Ghostbusters, during the opening sequence, I've noticed there's a glimpse of a guy who looks a lot like Chris Sarandon. Really? I'll have to look for it next time. I don't know. In the sequel, Vampire Sister comes to get revenge. Yes, and we're going to get there. We're just wrapping this up. Fright Night, man, to me, one of the great horror movies of the 1980s. And to me, a movie that defines the horror genre, a movie that defines not just the horror genre, but the 1980s in horror as a whole. I know there's been documentaries in Search of Darkness, which I didn't care for, but there's been tons of documentaries on horror movies of the 1980s. To me, this is one that they should focus on, one of the most, to me. I don't know if it's the greatest film of the 1980s horror-wise, but to me, it's one of the most important. A young up-and-comer in Tom Holland, mixing the old school and new school together and delivering something as kick-ass, original, fun, frightening, and grand as Fright Night. To me, Fright Night is an easy 10 out of 10, one of my favorite all-time horror movies and one of my all-time favorite vampire films. Easy 10 out of 10 for me. Fright Night, I love this one. Let's see. Oh, Fever Dreamland's in the house. Good brother. Grande, what's up? Been looking forward to this combo. Love me some Fright Night. Dude, thank you, number one. Number two, I know you're a big Twilight Zone fan, and I'm excited to see your walk through the entire of the 4 series. I don't know if you caught any of my episodes on them. It's my all-time favorite show. I have seen every episode more than once. I am such a mark. I am super excited for that. I just wanted to tell you, and if you're here in person, because that I'm super excited for that. Really looking forward to it, man. And it's cool. Like you've had some really cool guests from the freaking who did I think the musical score, right? Or an editor. I forget, you had somebody on recently, and I was like, holy shit! Like, who would have thought to get this guy? And man, it was an excellent interview. So cheers to you, man. I'm glad you could check out the show tonight. Yeah, I love the death of Jerry. It's original. It's so amazing. Yeah, no, totally. I thought Billy was the vampire's familiar, kind of undead that kept alive until he wasn't needed. Okay, so that's an interesting take on it. So, okay, the vampire's familiar. So explain to me this. If he's the vampire's familiar, what makes him supernatural? Because they shoot him in the head like 4 times. It's not till they stab him in the heart with the stake. That's when he starts bleeding the green goo and fucking melts. So is the vampire's unfamiliar? Do they have powers? Like, because I'm honestly asking this. I don't fucking know. I always, like, when I was a kid, I was like, okay, he can't be a vampire because he's out in the sunlight and he has a reflection. But what the fuck is he at the same time? I remember as a kid being like, he's a gargoyle, like just to make myself sleep at night. But I don't know. I definitely, this is a fun, I would love to know for sure. So Mateo says zombie. Tom says a vampire familiar. So this is cool. I'm interested to hear more about this. Yes, 10 out of 10. Completely, man. One of my favorites. Hey, just a little FYI. I looked for Fright Night 85. You have to scroll a bit, but someone posted the movie on Facebook. Watch a few minutes. Seems to be the legit movie. Oh, that's cool. So if you guys don't own it, honestly, this is one for years I've been thinking about upgrading, but I don't know if people know the whole story with this in the Blu-ray release. Twilight Time, about back in, I think I was in senior year of high school, right? 7 years ago, I think. Twilight Times did this really stupid thing where they released 5,000 Blu-rays of this, and then I think another 5,000 bare bone Blu-rays. So 10,000 discs in total. No. I'm sorry. It was 2,500 of each. 2,500 with features, 2,500 without features. They sold out in less than a fucking 48-hour period, and people that wanted to get the special edition couldn't because they sold out, and I think people could buy like 20 or more. So the scalpers, being the scalpers they are, bought 20 at a time and then just sold them for ungodly amount of money on the internet. Absolute fucking horse shit. So that was why I didn't get in on the first Blu-ray. I know since, 3-4 years ago, Sony released a Blu-ray. And Sony's Blu-ray seems pretty legit. I just have never picked it up. I should someday, but I don't know. This DVD is fine for now. I used to rent this so much as a kid. I was like, it's so sentimental. I can't really get rid of it type of thing. But I will upgrade Fright Night one day. Maybe a 4K. Maybe a 4K is coming. If that happens, I think it's time. James Moss, I got to go for now. Nice talking to everybody. Vampire, dude, rock on, man. James, good night, my friend. Good. Thank you for checking out the show. Zombie powers. Okay. I think Jerry gave him supernatural powers to help protect him. Okay. So supernatural characters. Okay. All right. Interesting. Twilight Zone sucks, no pun intended. No pun intended. What? I love the Twilight Zone. Is my favorite show of all time, Aiden. I don't know if I'll go with you on that one, buddy. In Penny Dreadful, the familiars are given some vampire powers, but not full vampire once bitten. Oh, okay. So that's why he can withstand the gun bullet shots, but then stake to the heart took care of him. That makes sense. Okay, you're probably along the right track. I mainly know actor Jonathan Stark, Billy Cole from Fright Night and House 2, both movies I watched a million times VHS back in the day. And also, Fever Dreamland did an excellent video on Fright Night 2, which we're just about to get in, about the disturbing history of it. And it's a fantastic video, guys. If you have not seen Anthony's channel, it's great stuff. I own the blue. Yeah, no, I've got to pick up the Sony blue, man. Sony's blue of Fright Night is really good. Okay, cool. I've got to pick it up. Twilight Zone is amazing, man. I meant that Blu-ray come. Oh, Twilight Time. Yeah, Twilight Time, bro. Twilight Time sucks. That was absolute blasphemy. And I know so many people that got fucking ripped off that bought them from scalpers. Oh, I love Fright Night. I want to pay and paid hundreds of dollars. Like, no. And that's something about the community, man, I don't like. Don't fucking rip us off. We are passionate fucking people. Do not pick our pockets like that. That's dirty. I don't like that people fucking did that. You want to sell, okay, you want to buy 2-3 copies because you know it's going to be limited. 2-3 copies, okay. 20 copies, you're a fucking prick. Let's just fucking call a spade, okay? Twilight Zone is a wonderful show, easily. Okay. No, I was just making sure. I was like, wow. It's like, I didn't know Aiden felt that adamantly against the T-Zone. I didn't think anybody could. Of course, unless it's one of the spinoffs. Granted, I like the 80s one. But I guess that's where we will transition into our second and final film of the evening from 1988. This is the little talked about sequel from director Tommy Lee Wallace, who of course brought us Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, who of course brought us one of the great TV miniseries of all time, Stephen King's It. This is Fright Night Part 2. Yes, Fright Night Part 2. I don't have anything to hold up here. It's weird. I don't know, I'm old school. I like to be like Fright Night Part 2. But you know, I don't own the DVD because of all the rights issues we discussed before. But Fright Night Part 2, a very little talked about film. And we can get into the backstory of the film as to why this happened. It's disturbing history, I guess, in Anthony's video. That's what he was calling it, because it is disturbing. And then we will get into the film, because I think the backstory, merits discussion. Basically, the original idea was they were going to bring Stephen Jeffries, Amanda Bierce, and possibly Chris Sarandon back for the sequel. I'm happy they didn't do that. Chris Sarandon was busy working on a little film called Child's Play, as was the original director, Tom Holland. They were working together on that film, shooting that when the studio wanted to make Fright Night Part 2. So they couldn't come back. So then, holy shit, what do? They got Tommy Lee Wallace, who had already made a sequel to an established horror movie franchise in the Halloween franchise. Tommy Lee Wallace, excellent choice. Second thing they did, they decided, let's change the antagonist. If we can't get Chris Sarandon back, what do? Instead of Jerry Dandridge, we go with Regene Dandridge, of course, played by the voluptuous Julie Carmen, who does a wonderful job in this film. Just sexy, seductive, horrifying, and chill and somber. She does a great job in this movie. I'm excited to get into her performance. So that was the right then and there. They were like, okay, we got to do these things different. And I think for the better. I think it was cool to bring in Tommy Lee Wallace. I think it was very cool to bring in a different antagonist. They also replaced Amanda Bierce. I believe she was on that show Married with Children? I forget what fucking show she was on. But they replaced her with, I want to get this actress's name right because I thought she did a great job, Tracy Lind. I like Tracy Lind way better than I like Amanda Bierce in the first film. I think that's arguably the biggest upgrade of Fright Night Part 2 is the female protagonist. I love Tracy Lind in this movie. I think she has a much more natural chemistry with William Ragsdale. She's a lot less whiny. Like Amanda Bierce is, Charlie, you're not paying attention to me. Whereas Tracy Lind, she was cool about it. All right, you stood me up. All right, fuck you. I'll see you tomorrow. It's just normal, like a normal person. Like Tracy Lind, I liked way better to me, like way better. But the producers of this film, of course, was I gotta get their names right here. I don't want to botch this. I think the Menendonça. I want to just make sure I get. Menendez. Jesus Christ. That's how you know my brain's fried. Menendez. So Roddy McDowell and Tommy Lee Wallace go out for lunch with Menendez, the producer of the film. And they go to him and say, hey, we want to do this X, Y, and Z with this, creative ideas. And he kind of met them with lukewarm response. I hear you, but I'm not interested. He was not very nice to them. Not the greatest lunch. That fucking night, he goes home. He, along with his wife, are murdered by their 2 sons. Not even kidding you, that happened. And when they got to the set on Monday, Tommy Lee Wallace and fucking Roddy McDowell, they go to each other kidding, saying, I didn't do it, did you? Joking about the guy that they had just had lunch with that same day. It was the last lunch the guy fucking ate. And he died that night. Just fucking holy shit. Like, that is crazy. And honestly, and that's a tragedy. I know that they weren't considered the best people that were killed, but still, a death is a death, and an untimely one at that, for both of them. But that is the big detriment as to why this movie did not get the wide stream theatrical release that this original film got. Fright Night Part 2 opened on about 140 screens in the U.S. That's a shame. That's a real shame. The movie grossed about $3 million, just under $3 million. And, it didn't make much money and was honestly the reason probably that they never made a Fright Night Part 3, although I know they wanted to. I know they wanted Tom Holland back. Roddy McDowell was all for it. They wanted to do a trilogy. But unfortunately, because of that happening, the movie flopping, and rights issues, we never got Fright Night Part 3. To this day, there's never been Fright Night Part 3. And we probably will never get it. And honestly, at this point, the time has passed. The time to do that, the window's closed on that, to me. It's a shame, though, because this film gets lost in the shuffle of that. Didn't get a wide stream release. To this day of 2022, this movie's 1988. It's now 2022. It's not gotten a nice release. Not to this day. With features that it deserves. To this day. That's a fucking crime, man. It's an absolute crime. But, that is what it is. It's just a shame because I think a lot of people do not see this movie because of that. And it is for free here on YouTube. I highly recommend, if you haven't seen it, before I get into reviews and spoilers and these things, watch it. Give it a shot, man. Because to me, it's fun 80s horror. And I think it's really well done. I think it has good makeup effects. It's got a lot to enjoy, to me. And we're going to get into that. Let me just go back to the comments. I forget where I was. I think I was right here with Slasher Fred. Slasher Fred says, there is an 80s vampire movie I remember watching called My Best Friend is a Vampire that is about a high school nerd who is bitten by his hot vampire woman and finds himself turning into one. I have not seen that, but I've heard of that. Mateo, next Grande episode, is Billy a vampire, a gargoyle, or a zombie? Yeah, no, we could do it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm vote. Honestly, Tom sounded like he knew what he was talking about, so we can go with Brother Tom. As a child, I always thought gargoyle. But people probably argue, are gargoyles supposed to be ugly? And Billy Cole just looked like a normal fucking dude. So I don't know. We can ask Jonathan Stark, maybe. I love the scene where Regine is on Charlie's car. Bro, she looks so fucking hot in that scene too. Like, and he's hooking up with his girl and she's just unimpressed. And she sort of like switches places with her for a minute. And it arouses Charlie more. Great stuff. Really good filmmaking, man. And just really like the seduction of it. It really works. That's vampire eroticism done right. What if Tom Holland came back to do Fright Night 2? How would that change the movie? If he came back to do Fright Night 2, you probably would have brought Chris Sarandon and Stephen Jeffries back. Although Stephen Jeffries was making 976 Evil at the time. And then after that, Evil Ed took his ghoulie gander and dip into the lake of ghoulie porn, if you will. So I don't know. But that apparently was the idea, that we're going to bring Evil Ed back as the antagonist, which I don't think would have worked. I love Evil Ed. I love Stephen Jeffrey. I really like the character in the first film. But to me, you had to switch it up and you had to go female. I think it was a really smart choice to bring in Julie Carmen here to play Regine, the sister of Jerry Dandridge. What if Tom... Oh, okay. I think it just... Okay, would it have still stood a chance to be good? Absolutely, but I think you needed a change. I really do. I think Tommy Lee Wallace was the breath of fresh air that the movie needed, and I know a lot of people probably disagree, but I do think that Tommy Lee Wallace was the right choice. I think this is a damn good movie. Tom Holland would have done a fine job. I just think creatively he probably would have been more involved with the story, and we probably would have gotten a lot of things changed. But I'm fine with the movie we got. I just think the release, that's the sad thing. The Menendez Bros, LMFAO, yeah, that's that damn right, man. It's crazy. Possibly, I'm not sure when Fright Night came out, but Married with Children started in 87. That's true. Okay, yes. She was on that show, and that's why she couldn't come back for this. They write her off in a funny way. They're like, oh, she only dates older men now, which I kind of liked because I really like the Tracy Lind character much better. So, I mean, that's just me. Oh, shit. Yeah, no, it's a fucking total crazy story. Tommy Lee Wallace is pissed off at the latest Fright Night documentary about his film being killed by those guys. I don't know. Like, okay, perfect example, and this is off the top of my fucking head. Look at Return of Living Dead and Return of Living Dead Part 2. Return of Living Dead, another movie in the 1980s. Hell, another movie from 1985 that to me defines the 1980s in horror. Like Fright Night and Return of the Living Dead, when it comes to horror movies of that era, are two of the best because they both, again, they took old school things, the zombie trope, the vampire tropes, and embraced them and were new and fresh. You look at both sequels, both came out in 1988. Fright Night Part 2 is way better than Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Return of the Living Dead Part 2 is like a G-rated zombie film for kids. And for some fucking reason, there are people that like it. I never cared for Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Fright Night Part 2 is where it's at. That's how you do a sequel a couple years later, different director, different direction, different story. Right. That's just my opinion. It is really a shame the sequel was a victim of terrible circumstances. Exactly. It was a solid movie and deserved better. A trilogy would have been awesome. I agree, man. And I wonder, part of me wonders what that third one would have been. Maybe Jerry Dandridge would have returned. I don't know. I don't know where you would have went with a part 3, but it seemed like Roddy McDowell and William Ragsdale would have loved to have come back. They seem to really enjoy and relish playing these characters. And I would have personally loved to see it. I didn't know about the murder. Yeah, no, it's really sad stuff. After this, I'm going to check out Fright Night 2. It's been a really long time since I've seen it. Yeah, no, free on YouTube, man. Best way to watch it. Fright Night was certainly my favorite vampire film from that era. I also love John Carpenter's Vampires as well. Dude, great pick. I love Carpenter's Vampires. Yeah, dude, I don't get why anybody likes that movie. Like, to me, only a kid should like that movie. Like, no adult should like Return of the Living Dead Part 2, but I don't know. I know there are people, I've heard people tell me, like, straight to my bed, like, oh, it's better than the original. I'm like, holy shit, we're on different ends of the fucking rainbow here, brother. Sorry. I don't know about that. But brief plot synopsis for Fright Night Part 2. Granted, it's not much, but I figure I always like to read a plot synopsis. Charlie Brewster and Peter Vincent must face more vampires out for revenge, including the sister of one, Mr. Jerry Dandridge, Regene. Yes, Fright Night Part 2. This one has an interesting beginning, and it's in a beginning that I could see pissing people off. The beginning is Charlie Brewster, William Ragsdale in therapy, and there is no such thing as vampires. They've convinced him that, of course, vampires are not real, and he's moved on from this terrible tragedy of his life, and he's still friends with, of course, Peter Vincent, who he does still believe that it's real, but he's also trying to not believe at the same time. He has a new girlfriend, of course, Tracy Lind, who I like far more. And I liked her so much, I put her in the thumbnail. That's how much I like her. I thought she was really good in this movie. And we were met with these characters as they kind of take on this new barrage of not just vampires, but werewolves too. There's a werewolf character in this. I want to get his name right here. I got the cast up. Forgive me here. John Gyers as Louis. He has a ton of fun in this movie. You have Russell Clark as Bell, sort of like the transsexual vampire of the bunch. You have Brian Thompson as Bosworth, which was a nod, of course, to any football fan out there. People from the 80s will remember the linebacker, Brian Bosworth. Who was on the Seattle Seahawks. Everybody remembers him for being sort of a bust, but he was a great personality and drew great heat. He was one of the first real characters in the sport of the NFL, a real antagonist, if you will. And everyone remembers Bo Jackson running over him on the Monday Night Football game. He plays a character that's sort of like a vampire version of Brian Bosworth. And he has some tremendous character moments. He has these weird things where he's eating these live bugs. And before he eats them, he says like the scientific proper term, like, oh, this is an aged cicada with, you know, and he goes on and on and on and then just eats it. And I'm pretty sure he was eating real bugs. I don't think that was fake. Eating real bugs. Just funny. You have, of course, the werewolf character, Louis. He's just having a ton of fun in this, just being very over the top. And then, of course, the master, the head mistress, if you will, Regene Dandridge, who is amazing. I love Julie Carmen in this role. She is beautiful. She is bad. She is sinister. And she was the perfect answer to the question, how do you replace Chris Sarandon as Jerry Dandridge? There's no other male actor, with all due respect to any male actor who's ever acted, they could have brought in to be a better Jerry Dandridge villain than Chris Sarandon was as that character. You just couldn't. You just can't. It's similar to Freddy. Like, you can't replace Freddy. You can't replace Pinhead. There's certain guys you just can't replace. But to me, switching the whole thing and making it about his sister, okay, now it's a family tie. This is a beautiful woman. This is a vampire woman. And instead of the themes of seducing Amy, she starts seducing Charlie. And I thought that was a really cool switcheroo in this movie. And especially for a male viewer, right? We watch Chris Sarandon seduce Amanda Beers. We're like, geez, this is uncomfortable. We watch Julie Carmen seduce William Ragsdale. Holy, this is fucking awesome, brother. Let me tell you something. It works. To me, it works, especially for, I guess, a little bit biased opinion there. But you get the picture. I think that she does a great job. And, you know, she's not as evil as Jerry Dandridge, but she's just cold and calm and never oversells. She's very cool as a cucumber. I think Chris Sarandon dials it up to 10. Julie Carmen dials it back to 5. And that was the only way you could answer how good Jerry Dandridge was as a villain. In this movie, she does it to perfection. And I like the whole crew, the vampire, the bug eater, just cool, really cool. I really like the crew. There's a fun scene where they go to the bowling alley and murder the entire staff and bowl with their fucking heads. How much fun is that? To this fun 80s music? That's 80s cheese, man. And it's the best type. Just some great stuff. I adore the new crew in this. I think they do a great job. But back to comments here, though. Didn't know about part 2 till later. Me too. I did not see this movie until about 2 years ago. And that's because of the lack of a wide release. Let's be honest. This is one of those movies that if you're a late bloomer to it, I totally understand. If you're an early bloomer to it, I'm like, damn, I'm jealous because I came to the party so late on this one. Could have cut off 15 minutes though. The YouTube copy looks great. It does. I just think we need a Blu-ray now with some features. Sorry, I burped there. Could have cut off 15 minutes. Okay, no, that's cool. It's not as good as the original. But to me, it's like it deserves to be talked about a little bit more. That's just my thing. Some of the stars of Return of the Living Dead said it was horrible because that piece of shit director, was it Ken Wiederhorn? He didn't want to be there and he didn't have any ambition. And you hear the behind the scenes story of that movie. I don't see how anybody could like that movie. And he was a fucking piece of shit to Don Calfa. He made Don Calfa re-audition to play the same fucking part that he played in the original movie. Don Calfa, Don Calfa did it because Don Calfa's such a cool guy, and he still didn't fucking cast him. I hate Return of the Dead Part 2. I could fucking, son of a bitch, you do that to fucking Don Calfa, motherfucker. Played the werewolf in Monster Squad 2. Yes, that's right, that's true. Yes, he did. That is true. I missed that. Thank you for mentioning that. Tracy Lind was also in the sequel of Class of 1984, Class of 1999, where instead of having gang members being the antagonist, the teachers being the victims, the roles reversed. Very cool. Yeah, totally. Julie Carmen was in 2 of the most awesome horror films with Fright Night Part 2 and In the Mouth of Madness. Little Carpenter flavor there. Absolutely. Regine had a great squad. This was another fun, different. Exactly. In the first film, we get Jerry Dandridge and Billy Cole. Billy Cole is very much on the side. He's not like he's good. I like the scene where he and the cop, he took out a body last night. I saw that. Oh, did you? He's a lot of fun. He plays it fun. But to me, bringing in more antagonists were fun. It was cool, and it was very much more 80s, product of its time, especially latter 80s. Because latter 80s definitely, differed a lot from the early 80s. Where the early 80s, you definitely got more serious. Latter 80s, you got more cheese, and it worked for this particular film. I have an original one-sheet poster of Fright Night Part 2. Dude, that's really cool, man. That's really cool. I don't know how rare or not that is because the movie didn't have a very big theatrical run. So I would assume that's rare, but I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I know the original Fright Night one-sheet is crazy expensive, like $800 to $1,000 if you find one in even bad shape. But Fright Night Part 2, I honestly don't know with the one-sheets, what an expensive one goes for. I've noticed that in Fright Night Part 2, there are scenes where Regene infiltrates Charlie's dreams. Exactly. And it's amazing. One of my favorite shots is Charlie's laying in the bed and he's trying to sleep and she sort of comes in and it's just like this misty smoke and she just appears in the room. Wow. It's just again, it brought me back to this, like just the magic, like, wow, like this is fucking amazing stuff. Like, just look at this. One of those you just have a hard time looking away. I think Amanda Bierce was 27. Yes, I mentioned that earlier, but I think her character was supposed to be 16 in the 80s. Exactly. I mentioned that earlier, man. Yeah, no, that is true. And they even did it with movies like Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire's and Kristen Dunst are in high school. What? Like, what the hell? Jerry versus Blade, Fright Night Part 3. Who knows? I enjoy some of the interactions between William Ragsdale and of course Roddy McDowell in this. There's a fun scene where they go to this like dance and he's trying to again convince him. He's like, listen, she's a vampire. It's Jerry Dandridge's sister. Oh, don't be silly, poor boy. And of course, in similar vein to the first film, he puts up the mirror and she's not there. And he's like, oh my God, here we go again. Really cool stuff. There's, again, another fun finale in this one, too, where, before that, Regine actually starts to take over as the host of Fright Night. I thought that was a very funny, like, jab, like, Peter Vincent, I can do what you do 10 times better. How do you replace a classic TV horror host with boobs, with a sexy, seductress Regine, man? And she does a fantastic job. I adore her, man. She does a great job. She's beautiful. I love her. I think she did a great job. And I thought it was funny to kind of make her the host, to sort of one up, Peter Vincent. I thought that was really fun. And the finale in this is a lot of fun too. You have this great special makeup effects scene where they take out the guy playing Boz and all these bugs and maggots fly out of his stomach, similar vein to Creep Show, just craziness, real bugs. Fantastic. You have fucking, the one, oh geez, what the hell, the bell cat, that's I mean, fantastic. Some of the death scenes in the finale are a lot of fun. Bats flying around and holding up the cross. I mean, a really fun finale in its own right too. I think a damn good finale. Julie Carmen was beautiful in that film, man. Yeah, no. And I think she's done an interview. I believe there's like a 3.5 hour Fright Night documentary. And it's out of print now, but they got her to do that. I would kill to see that unedited interview. Like, I'd love to hear her unedited thoughts. That's why I want a fucking special edition of this. I got to hear that 20 to 30 minute interview with Julie Carmen, because and people don't realize this, she didn't want to do this movie. And a lot of people are probably like, why? Why would Julie Carmen not want to do this movie? She felt that Elvira was this character. She was like, I don't want to just go in there and play Elvira. That's no fun. That's, Cassandra Peterson. That's no disrespect to her. I can't be her. I can't do it. And they said, no, you're going to make something completely new and cold and calm and cool and collected out of this. And she does it. And it's tremendous. It really is tremendous. It might be my favorite performance in the film. I think she just does a great job. It's two films where the antagonists steal both movies. And that's saying a lot because I love Roddy McDowell and I love Ragsdale. In the opening of the original Fright Night, I love the movie within a movie that Charlie named her. Yes, dude. I absolutely love that. It's a great way to open your film. Brian Thompson, Night Slasher, and Cobra, iconic. This is where wait a minute. What the hell is the line? This is where the law stops and I start. I love Sly, man. Dude, I promise you, one day down the road, I'm going to do a Sly top 10. We did Kurt Russell. We did Robin Williams. I've got to do Sly. Sly is one of my favorite actors. We did Rocky a few weeks ago, but we got to be talking some Cobra, some Demolition Man, maybe some Copland. I don't know, man. I'm a big Sly fan. We got to get some Sly love on here. I don't know what you were laughing at. Was it my boobs comment? Probably. I saw that documentary, and everybody involved with part 2 was proud of that film. They should be proud of that film. That's, to me, a damn good sequel. And a sequel that, okay, is it as good as the original? No, it's not. It is not as good as the original. I wouldn't say it's even, a 9 out of 10 or whatever. It's not as good as this film. But to me, it's a sequel to be embraced and a sequel to be, I think, proud of personally. I see, because there's a lot of horror sequels out there to me that just do it wrong and unnecessarily get praised or hated or whatever. I think this is one that just doesn't get anything. That's, I think, why I really want to go to bat for it here, because it doesn't get enough love. It really doesn't. Let's see. I saw Copland was great, dude. Bro, Barney, you blew it. I love Copland. One of my favorites. There's a great little subtle funny moment in Fright Night 2 when Peter is messing with Charlie in the club. He mocked him with the fake vampire teeth. Those two, they did have great chemistry, man. That's the thing. That team you would never think would work, right? Like a young kid and an old school veteran actor, but they both had a blast working off each other. And the fact that it's the kid next door and the old has-been who, what could be more important than my autograph? My friend's life? Oh, I guess so. Like those two chemistry off the charts. And it really, you wouldn't think it would work as well as it does, but it does. Again, and I like the chemistry with Tracy Lind and Ragsdale. They have a good chemistry. I buy them much more as a couple because she just wasn't as naggy to me. And I don't know. I think this is a very passable, damn good sequel that more people need to see. To me, it has fun. It has energy. It has that magical element that the original film has. It has a great antagonist performance. It has good returning characters, good fun new characters. And to me, is everything a good sequel should be. It's not as good. It's a slight step down, but it's not a fall from grace. This is just a movie that, like Anthony was saying, was a victim of the poor circumstances that surrounded its behind the scenes ventures. And it's a damn shame that all happened. But I don't know, man. I love Fright Night Part 2. I'm going to come in with a solid 8 out of 10. I really like this movie. I don't know who wants to release it. I don't know if it's Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know if it's Severin. I don't know if it's Shout Factory. I don't know who wants to release this son of a bitch and give it the proper special edition that it deserves. But whoever does do it will earn my respect when they do it. I just hope it's sooner rather than later. That's my whole thing with Region 1 releasing, at least. There was an 80s B movie called Terror Vision. Oh, dude, I love Terror Vision. I have Terror Vision on a Blu-ray 2-pack with something. Terror Vision's great, man. I know Gid Dahmer loves that movie, too. Involves TV host that also does battle. Yep. Dude, no, I love that movie. Fright Night Part 2 versus Scream 2, which is the best Fright Night Part 2 is better than Scream 2. I think Scream 2 is overrated. I don't really like Scream 2 as much as most people. It's good, but I would actually watch Fright Night 2 over it. I'll check it out tomorrow for sure. Awesome, man. Yeah, free on it, man. Free on YouTube. So John Steele, Scream Factory should do it. If they can figure out the rights, bro, I'm for anybody doing it. It's time, though. It's time. Let's be honest. It's fucking time. Like, we shouldn't have to go to YouTube to fucking watch it. Like, it's cool that it's there and it's in good quality, but it's time. Let's just be perfectly honest. But okay. That is Fright Night Part 1 and 2. Again, I guess I could give brief thoughts on the remake and its sequel. Although I've heard the sequel is not related. I know we discussed it a little bit. I will never see that remake. I'm not interested. I have a funny story about the sequel's remake, the sequel to the remake. I was in a 7-Eleven, and sometimes 7-Eleven has Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff like that. I actually found Cat's Eye in there for $3 once on Blu-ray. Fucking transfer is stupid good too. That was a great deal, $3 and probably a bag of fucking Funyuns and a Dew back before when I stopped drinking, when I was drinking soda. But that whole thing, I went in there and I saw Fright Night Part 2, the remake sequel. for like $3.99 on Blu-ray, and I fucking didn't buy it. So if I didn't buy it for $3 on Blu-ray at a 7-Eleven, where I was literally probably in there trying to get a soda or two that would cost more than the Blu-ray, odds are I'm not probably going to be seeing that movie anytime soon either. I've heard that it's a piece of shit. I will not watch it. The first remake to me is blasphemy. The fact they did a sequel, direct to video, direct to Blu-ray or whatever, is blasphemy to me too. To me, it's just, you can't touch this movie. To me, the only two Fright Night films are this and Fright Night Part 2 from 1988. The rest, I can leave them. Not take them. I'm leaving them right where they are. That's just me though. But yeah, no, unless there's anything else everybody wants to talk about on here, I had a wonderful show tonight, a wonderful time, talking to everybody. This was a really, really fun time. I'll take a sip of my water. If there's anything else anybody wants to talk about, by all means, we can. If not a worry in the world. Oh my God, my voice is getting a little dry there. Sometimes it's funny when you go by yourself, like when you do this, it could be quite a little bit, taxing on your throat, your voice or whatever. But I don't know. Sometimes that's why I love doing this. You have to have a good energy to do this, man, especially if you don't have a guest. It's fun to have a guest to play off, but man, when you have to carry a show on your own, it's definitely, it's a lot of fun. It's a challenge, man. I always remember Jim Ross saying it's the challenge of doing live. It's just so exciting. Mateo, always great lives, Grande. Keep it up, Cemetery Man. Mateo, thank you so much for saying that. Mateo, I don't know if you left yet, but I don't think there was any Wi-Fi problems tonight. Just saying. I don't know. But yeah, no, it looks like that's going to be it. Everybody's saying, okay, Flo wants to talk really quick. Have you watched TCM on Netflix yet? Yes, I did. And it was horrible. And I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. That shit sucked, man. And right as I said that, now I see the Wi-Fi thing in the top, so maybe I should just call it. I don't know. Long story short, that Texas Chainsaw movie was terrible. I will never rewatch that shit. That was some garbage. Corey right at the end showed up. King and Igor, good brother. What's up, man? Awesome show, man. I have to catch up in the opening I missed. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Overall, a whack-ass film. Hell yeah. Fuck that movie. You liked it. No, I did not like it. I hated that fucking piece of shit movie with, oh, geez. I don't know if I want to get into it, but it was terrible. I'm canceled. Don't cancel me now. Don't cancel me now. I didn't fucking write a party bus full of dumb people. Great show tonight, Grande. Always a good time in the graveyard. Thank you so much, Missy. I appreciate it. I had a great time talking with y'all. Yeah, no, that new TCM though, man, to me, that's everything what's wrong with horror now. And like, I know people have been like, oh, well, what did you not like? Was it too woke for you? No, it had nothing to do with that. To me, look at even some of the Chainsaw films people say are bad. The Next Generation, a lot of people hate. Texas Chainsaw 3D, a lot of people hate. A lot of people hate those two movies. Look at those two movies on paper, though. At least they are fun and stupid and entertaining. At least. There's nothing fun or entertaining about this new Texas Chainsaw movie. This was, how can we copy Halloween 2018? How can we copy it and do it with Leatherface? Leatherface is not that type of character. Leatherface, the whole beauty of the character was that he didn't know what was going on. He was afraid for his life that day. Leatherface is not the fucking guy to get on a party bus. I'm going to get angry. To get on a party bus full of a bunch of fucking idiots. And, oh, wasn't that awesome though? No, it wasn't awesome. Why is there a fucking reel from a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film where Leatherface is killing people on Instagram Live? It's not funny. It's fucking retarded. I'm sorry for saying that word, but it is. It just is. It's mentally challenged. It's terrible. It's terrible. I will just no. Like, I give up with shit like that, man. I can't. I can't even fucking be like, oh, at least it was a fun slasher. I've had people come up to me and be like, oh, it was a slasher film. What were you expecting? Fucking something better than what I got. I got a boring, bland cast. Okay. All right, you know what? We're gonna fucking take the gloves off. We're gonna just bash this fucking thing. Why not? Okay, you've got Margot Robbie wannabe chick who dies in the first 10 minutes. You have a rat face bitch. You have one bitch that looks like fucking Bob Ross's daughter who is fucking, shut the fuck up. The rat bitch looked like she's from Mulberry Street from fucking, did anybody remember Mulberry Street with the rat zombies? That was a bunch of bullshit. After Dark Horror Fest, which I'm going to do an episode on that. I want to do the 8 films to die for. Mulberry Street review would be fucking funny because I'd shit all over that piece of shit. And it was filmed in New York, so I'm biased here. Jesus, man, like there's no fun. There's no lie. I mean, there's no life to it. There's no oomph to any of it. It's a 73-minute movie with pacing issues. It's slow. It's dull. It's to me, it's the opposite as to why Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, works. And it makes movies like 3D and The Next Generation look way better because at least they're batshit. At least they're fun. At least they're entertaining. Holy shit. I'd rather watch the fucking Texas Chainsaw Vibrator than watch that new fucking shit. Holy crap, man. Dumbest premise for a horror film. Too woke, yes. Whack as fuck. Yeah, maybe it was too woke. I didn't, like, that wasn't my problem with it. To me, it's like the movie just failed as a horror movie. And it's not fun or has any energy to it. It's just a piece of shit. Let's shoe in all the agendas. Yeah, they did that. They did that. I won't lie, though. That wasn't even my biggest problem with it. Sorry I'm late. Yeah, it was bad in the grand scheme of TCM movies. At least it wasn't 2017 Leatherface, which should tell y'all how low the bar was. That's probably true. Hence why I only deal with limited millennials. I'm glad I'm one of them. So it's another bad film in the franchise. Yes, but it's different in and of the fact that it's boring. That's its main problem. There was no life to that movie. Like you can tell, oh, Grande, I love the gore. Didn't you love the gore? Shut the fuck up. Holy shit. I thought Leatherface was very considerate with walling up his chainsaw after the massacre and keeping it well oiled. Apparently, Tom, the director said that's the chainsaw they used in the original film. And I think he's full of fucking shit. I rolled my eyes so damn hard when the dude stops everything. Like, oh, what, a Confederate flag? But yeah, like that doesn't have to be in your fucking movie. Your movie was 73 minutes long, and that's part of it. Like 73 minutes, you better be giving me a lot, and they give me dick. LMO, I can't lie, I loved it. Oh, really? Wow, bro. I'm sorry. I love the kills and the point. Dude, I don't know. I threw. That was one of those where it ended, and it was one of those I fucking waved the white flag. Like I fucking give up. This film was Stranger Things meets Leatherface. Yeah. Like, bro, why is the catalyst the entire conflict of the movie? I don't know. Still here, Grande. Yes, Wi-Fi was awesome. It was like you were here in Canada with me. Yeah, hell yeah. There we go. Sally's character, I could have done without, though. Oh, you mean fucking Mick Garris? The fucking actress they fucking casted to play Sally looks like fucking Mick Garris. Mick Garris shows up in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre trying to revive Masters of Horror Season 3. But she can't because she's been a park ranger for fucking 40 years. Oh, he'd been looking for him for 40 years. Oh, shit, why? Hasn't she found him? Oh, because he's wearing a mask. What? Leatherface went to the fucking orphanage? Leatherface, at the end of the first film, accidentally chainsawed into his own leg. You tell me he hobbled his fucking fat cottage cheese stretch mark written body to a fucking orphanage? What? That must have been the biggest fucking mongoloid kid in the orphanage. What the fuck? Jesus. It's just, oh my God. Best part for me was under the house, the shit when he tries to get the shit. Oh, yeah, when the shit. That was funny, yeah. Sally was definitely no Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, no, she wasn't. She was fucking Mick Garris. All the main characters reminded me of those grown Stranger Things kids. Yeah, because they all sucked. Like, I'm sorry, but they did. Oh, geez, I might have skipped the comment. Hold on. Okay, wait. The annoying lead older sister character looks like the lead singer Greta Van Fleet. I said when I was watching it, I called her Bob Ross. I kept calling her Bob Ross. I was like, yo, but there's Bob Ross. She just got shit on her face. Mick Garris, too funny. Dude, am I wrong? That bitch looks like Mick Garris. TCM 2022 is the Greta Van Fleet of horror, cheap ripoff, and I still had fun with it. Dude, how do you have fun with that movie? I would need like a 30-pack of fucking White Castle burgers, dude. Welcome to Fright Night. For real. Good brother Junebug, you caught us right before the end. LMFAO. no need to body shame Leatherface, bro. You're canceled again. Yo, fucking, I'm fat too, all right? But I wouldn't have fucking hobbled my fucking ass to a fucking orphanage, all right? Get the fuck out of here. The scene after the credits was a bad setup for a sequel. People are like, oh, you could totally watch, you could totally fucking see it's the original house. What? What are you fucking talking about? Jesus. This is the Grande I love watching, tearing shit apart. You know, it's funny. I would say like 90% of Grande's Graveyard episodes are me being positive. But when I'm negative, people love it. When I did that worst first show where I shit on movies people liked on that. And people were like, when I shit on Hatchet, everybody was like, this is like, fuck you, but this is so fucking funny. Like, that was one of my favorite reviews I ever did, was bashing Hatchet on the worst first episode, because people were fucking hysterical. I know people loved that. I think Corey was there. I turned my brain off and shit on the Bible. Dude, you could turn your brain off and still not like that movie, though. I don't know. She does look like Mick Harris. Dude, she does, bro. It's fucked up. Question, are you going to do a video talking about it? No. I'm not giving it the fucking satisfaction of that. No. Because everybody and their mother reviewed it on here. Everybody and their mother talked about it on here. And everybody's going to have different opinions. I heard some say they love it, they hate it, whatever. No, I don't. I'll talk about it on here on the live with y'all, but I'm not posting a video. My thoughts on the Texas Chainsaw Man. No, nope. I don't have thoughts. I have questions. What the fuck? That's my question. All right. Same with Halloween Kills. I didn't review it. On the chat. I did a series ranking, but I asked a question. I was like, why the fuck do people like this? I could have easily done that for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I don't know. I just ran out of gas after I watched that movie. I was like, all right, white flag, I'm done. I'm fat, but I don't hobble. Well, he did chainsaw into his own fucking leg, so I would have been hobbling too. But I just wouldn't have fucking went to the orphanage. I would have went back to Jim Sedow. It'd be like, what the fuck is up? It's another thing too with these chainsaw movies. What happened to the family aspect? Why does it have to just be Leatherface now? Like what? I don't know. It just pisses me off. The old lady adopted him or what? Made no sense. Yeah, no, I have no fucking idea. Leatherface fucking crying that this bitch in the orphanage, oh, she died. Get the fuck out of here. Shout out to the hot blonde girl. She looked like Margot Robbie, I thought, a little bit, but she's barely, of course, she's the first one to get killed, and they keep old Ratface and fucking Bob Ross in it the whole fucking way. Or Greta, as Corey was saying. But guys, I'm sorry. I guess I threw that little rant in here at the end, but I had a fun show. This was a really fun time shooting the breeze with everybody here tonight. I had a really good time. You don't want to review Texas Chainsaw 2022. I'll make you a stupid numbio with you looking shocked. Caption is it as bad as they say? Yeah, no, see all these these bait videos, like my thoughts on the reactions, like that's obnoxious to me. Like, I hate shit like that. Why does it have to be Texas Chainsaw, Texas Kansas Massacre, Nebraska Chainsaw Massacre? I mean, I guess so. Ranking original TCM remake, TCM 2, and then Netflix, rest were terrible. Wow, you like the Netflix one. That's incredible. I don't know. I didn't like it. Do it, Corey. Okay, very cool. The original's always the best for me. But everybody, we're going to fuck your thoughts. Don't fuck my thoughts. No. Goodbye, Grande. It's been fun. Dude, thank you. I appreciate you all for joining. This was a very fun show. And next week we'll be back, as always, live in the living color here with you. And we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. This has been Fright Night for real. Too sweet. Peace, y'all. Have a nice weekend, everybody.